stage 4 liver and pancreatic cancer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So she started taking that because she was limited in her house. She could hardly move around, even with her walker and that kind of thing. So got her started on the Emulin C, I'm sorry, because her blood sugar was also wacky. Mm-hmm. And so she started taking that. She had bought that one bottle. Then she bought 3 bottles. Now she's wanting to buy 5 bottles.
Wow.
So what the deal is, they've gone back in within the last week and did a biopsy of her liver, and they cannot find the cancer. So I don't know. The main thing I can say with it right now is, of course, that's the question. We don't know where that's going. But just the fact that this 78-year-old woman has been taking chemo for over a year now and has gotten back up now, she walks around the house, she goes out and she works in the yard, she's driving, and she's doing all this stuff and the increased energy, and she's excited about it, knowing that Emulin is contributing to that. So it's helping her to balance her body while she's putting all these poisons in there.
That's fantastic.
I don't quite know where it goes or explain it all, but I can say that it is improving her quality of life a lot.
Well, hallelujah. That's a wonderful testimonial.
Yes.
You know, if you have a chance and you can follow it up, type it up into the testimonials page on the Tribe.
Okay.
Book. A lot of people will get heartened by that.
Yeah, will do.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else? If you need to come out, just go to the bottom left and just unmute yourself.
So, John, Kathy Manson here.
Oh, hi, Kathy.
Mine's a little bit different story, but I just wanted to share because this, to me, talks about the quality of the company that we are with. So I'm part of a group out of the UK. There's an author. She wrote a book called The Cancer Whisperers, and she has a group of about 1,400 in this Facebook group. And from what I can see, I almost feel like I don't really belong because most people are like advanced staged or metastatic cancers, but somebody was looking for anything because they'd pretty much run out of options. So I said, the company I'm with has a product that the scientist has told us would help, but it's not available in the UK, but he has talked about another cancer protocol. And if you want more info, PM me. So I've had 6 people in the last 2 days, and I had written to Dr. Scolio on Facebook Messenger, and within 10 minutes, I had a "Dear Kathy" and a response. Here's the protocol. 2 of the ingredients are things that are going to be in the climax. So I'm like super stoked for what's coming for us. And for these people that are in other places, they have an option as well. So I just think it's fantastic. And he wrote this big, long explanation, more to come next week. He's offering them a 50% discount to ship it from Italy now, or they can wait till it gets to the UK in January. But some of these people, they've been given like not long. So they're interested. And so today I kind of feel like what our company brings and what I brought was hope.
That's excellent. Thank you. Wow, that's a good story. Anybody else want to come out and share with us?
Dr. Arhens is on the call, John.
Oh, good. Where are you, Joe? Speak up, boy. We've been waiting for you. Let's see, where is Dr. Arhens? Let's find him. Oh, there you are.
You hear me now?
Yeah, hi, Doc. Nice to see you.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, we do. Do you hear us? Yes, we do. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah, very good. There's a little bit of noise here.
Okay.
So I don't know how it sounds behind me. There's background noise.
Are you on a computer or are you on your phone?
So what can I do for you this great evening?
Well, we've
I'm on
had
a computer. You see me?
Okay, good. We've had a few people share a couple of very encouraging testimonials about Emulin and cancer and climax and cancer. But the most important thing people are looking forward to hear from you is about Emulin E, of course, and what the research was that brought you to that place, what the ongoing research that you're doing that's not published yet. So give us some insights about that, and a status report as to when different people in different countries can expect to see the Emulin E delivered. We know we have this little problem with Canadian labeling. Hopefully that's been cleared up. So just bring us up to speed as to how Emulin evolved and what the research showed and all of that.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate these opportunities. And I want to ask again, is it coming through clear? Because sometimes my video is jumping around from you. So am I okay?
You are okay. You're as good as you're going to be for tonight. It's good. Go for it.
Great. Well, we made Emulin for the first time, what we now know as Emulin, the first time in 2010. And we know more now than what we did then. That's really the number one right there. We know so much more in the last 7 and 8 years than we did at first. Of course, that's how it's going to be. We had the first was what we now call Emulin C. It was great for diabetics, and but we did not understand the total range of actions and what was going on. In 2010, we did not even know about the anti-inflammatory prospects for Emulin. That's where we were. We were just trying to help diabetics and help people lose weight. But over the course of the next several years, we had a couple of good fortune, very fortunate things happen to us, the company that has the patents and does all the science and now has a great relationship with Gallic. We had a board member who joined our company, who was he's part owner of the Boston Red Sox. His name is Tom DeBenedetto. He owns 20% of our company. Why would he want to join our company? He had diabetes, and he had heard about us, and he tried some product like almost everybody does. You give this product to someone, you don't have to say, why don't you take this product for 3 months and then come back to me later and see if you like it or not. It has immediate impact. If it's going to help you, it's going to be in a matter of days. The longest we ever saw was one lady who was a close friend of mine. It took her 30 days. And there's always other issues. People they don't eat right. They don't follow the advice of healthcare professionals. But yes, in just less than a week, he had been like he'd never been helped before. His private physician, is unlike most of us. My private physician, I go down and visit him about 30 miles from me, and he takes care of me. Well, I guess when you are a part owner of the Boston Red Sox, you can get on a private jet and fly to the world's leading authority in diabetes and get checked out. So he did, and he said, hey, I came across this product, Emulin, and it's helping lower my blood pressure. And so that guy who was Dr. Ralph DeFranzo at the University of Texas, San Antonio, head of the diabetes division, he is the man who introduced metformin to the world. This is the Mr. Diabetes of the world, the #1 prescribed drug for diabetes in the world, the drug that is on the United Nations top 10 list of absolutely essential drugs, right behind penicillin, is metformin. discovered by Dr. Ralph DeFranzo, who happened to be the personal physician of one of our shareholders. So I went out there to visit Dr. Ralph and told him, hey, we have this product and this is what it's doing. And he said, man, from the evidence that you have presented me, you are onto one of the best drugs ever to inhibit inflammation. And he helped us work at our theory of sugar is a poison causing inflammation. And Emulin not only regulates the sugar, but also tackles inflammation. That was a breakthrough. And so we went back and we formulated what Emulin C. But we kept going. We kept working with Ralph DeFranzo, and we found out we should put more of one thing in another to optimize it. Well, we have a fantastic discovery for diabetics. And now, what about the general population that are not particularly diabetic? What about people who just want to lose weight? What about people who have inflammation, have asthma, and it's because of this sugar really that's in their bloodstreams, that they're bombarding themselves with this poison? What about them? Well, let's optimize it for them. And so we got into a phase where we were wanting to optimize the formula for everyone. I mean, how many formulas can you have now? 12, 24? You eventually you lose your effectiveness because you're diluting the message, which is just twofold. Refined sugar is killing us, and our body thinks it's a poison because it's refined and it doesn't have Emulin in it. I want to remind everyone that in nature, Emulin is along with the sugar, like sugar cane, the very place that we get refined sugar. In natural sugar cane, if you were to press out the juice and turn it into sugar without refining it, it would have Emulin in it. Not enough. So don't run out and get sugar cane juice and drink it and say, oh, I'm getting enough. There's Emulin in it, but we have bred that out of it by accident over the years. So there's not enough in it. And that was the discovery. There used to be enough Emulin in everything. It was in currants. It was in blackberries, blueberries, all the dark grapes. It was in mangoes, all the things that Native Americans. You want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, when you say there was Emulin in it, it's certainly not the three components that are currently in Emulin. You're saying that they were in the sugar cane before they were bred out? The three components? Because Emulin is a word that encompasses three different components to the present time.
Well, you're exactly right. You're exactly right, and I should clarify that. I'll call them Emulin-like components.
Okay.
Cousins of Emulin. Now, for instance, if you look at any of these bottles, you'll see that one of the components is myricetin.
Yeah.
That is in dark grapes.
Okay.
Dark grapes don't have any chlorogenic acid in them.
No.
So they have part of Emulin in them. So what we have done is optimize this system by selecting the best ones and in combination do the best job. We've actually improved on nature. There's nothing wrong with that. Nature gave us the clues. It's like eating a balanced diet. Let's put it that way. A carrot is great, but it doesn't have every vitamin for you. It doesn't mean a carrot's not good, but the best thing to do is select from a green vegetable, a colored vegetable, a purple vegetable. Get all your colors in there, and not all vitamins are in every single. I'm glad you asked this question because here's a perfect analogy for the vitamins in our food. Vitamins are in, not all vitamins are in every food. So you select foods. to optimize your vitamin intake.
Yeah.
And that's what we have done. We have selected the best of these sugar managers from a variety of foods. In this case, 3 of them. So there's some of them in here in the sugar cane. There's some in pine, onions. There's some in lots of foods like that. So, and green coffee beans even. So we have selected the best ones to put into Emulin.
Mm-hmm.
And the original C, as I said, we were focused on diabetics. And then we started focusing on different groups. What about just weight loss, or what about athlete? You know, I have a passion for a healthy lifestyle. I'm not a runner. I used to run track in high school, and that's actually why I hate exercising right now. I got so sick and tired of running track. You know, people don't know when you perform like that, you run around and then you throw up all afternoon. I'm tired of that. My knees still hurt from that, so I'm not. But having said that, I enjoy a healthy lifestyle. I walk on the beach. I jog a little bit. I go on an elliptical trainer every morning. And hey, John, you're a doctor. I think you ought to join me on that elliptical trainer tomorrow morning if we can arrange that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So I get on the elliptical half an hour every morning, and I try to watch what I eat. But of course, I'm traveling. So today I'm in where am I today? Okay, north of Hartford, Connecticut, on the Massachusetts Connecticut line. Last night I was in New York. Before that I was in Baltimore, Maryland, and then before that I was back in Washington D.C. Before that I was in Nassau. I eat terrible. I mean, you know, what do? You go have breakfast. The only choice is eggs over easy and hash browns. So I eat terrible. I know better, but that's how I have a passion to help people that are trying to choose a healthy lifestyle. So I want to make an Emulin that's specifically for those people, optimized for them, as it were. Maybe add some extra vitamins to put in there. Well, it was getting out of hand, and people were getting confused. So I said, you know what? I'm going to come up with the best formula for everyone. That's really how it happened. It's going to be the best formula. So let me do a little bit extra research. And actually, this was based on a clinical that we had done last year in West Virginia. A great doctor, Dr. Bennett, has a passion for helping the people in Appalachia. Okay, listen to this story. What do you think you eat in Appalachia? What do you eat? Do you eat filet mignon and Caesar
Spam.
salad?
Spam.
No, what do you eat? Carbs, spam and carbs, and just the cheapest food you can get.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, right? And what is that? Potatoes. That's it.
Yeah.
Potatoes and collards. Collards are good for you, but it's just carbs, 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 carbs. Because in this country, carbs are the cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see poverty in the United States and developed countries, when you see poverty, they're fat, they're not thin.
Yeah.
It's a totally things backwards. No, because they cannot afford quality food.
Right.
They cannot afford protein. They can just afford carbohydrate. So they're overweight. And the older they get, the fatter they are. Heart condition, arthritis, and high blood sugar. And this doctor, Bennett, had a passion for them. So we knew him through some other people, and we did a quite substantial test of almost 200 people for a long period of time. The whole test itself took almost a year. And we had the same results we had with the small previous test of 40. But these were not type 2 diabetics. That's important.
Right.
They were just in bad health, and they were overweight, they were obese, they had inflammation, they had arthritis, but they weren't type 2 diabetics. So now, based on that information, I formulated a new Emulin that's called E for everyone. I got some new information, and I added another component, gallic acid. So now there's 4 components in Emulin. Marissa, you don't need to memorize these because I just can make these up, and nobody will know what I'm talking about. I can say this one here is quadrucaplyguaric acid. I mean, it sounds fancy. No, they are just joking. Myricetin, chlorogenic acid, quercetin, and gallic acid. And I looked at the ratio. I looked at the ratios, and this is a great product. Emulin for everyone. Emulin E. I'm just going to stop calling it Emulin E, Emulin C, Emulin M. It's going to be Emulin. It's Emulin. And you know what? I'm keep working. I'm going to keep working. And so what people at iGalen can guarantee and take to the bank? The Emulin they buy today is the best Emulin they can get, and it's going to get better in the future. We will have a improved, I don't know, just say numbers, don't hold it to me, improved 2020 model or something. I'm going to continue to improve this Emulin. Now, that also does not mean that the Emulin that I made before it is not a good Emulin. I mean, that's stupid. That's a silly thought. Every Emulin is great. I had a lady ask me today through an email and said, well, you know, my husband got cystic fibrosis. Should I take C, or should I take the M, or should I wait for the E? I said, I'm sorry, you just don't understand the process. This product is so good. You take any of those, it doesn't matter. When I'm trying to micro formulate, it's just it's just shaving hairs. Any one of these Emmulins are great. I would recommend any of them to even my wife. God bless her. I'm sorry, Lynn, if you're listening. I really do try to take care of you. You know, I say that story because when I was at Green Giant and was testing products, I'd always bring home these potatoes and carrots that I forced my kids to eat to see if they were any good, like those peeled baby carrots. They were terrible when I first started making them. They were slimy, and they said, "Oh, Dad, the carrots are not good, but I surely hope this is not potato week because those potatoes are rotten." So I say that jokingly to my wife because when I started making Emulin, I kept having her as a test subject, and you make some mistakes, and why not on your wife first? You know, someone you love and will forgive your mistakes. Those are jokes, people. If you don't have a sense of humor, those are just a little joke. I wouldn't give my wife anything that would hurt her. I don't think, at least not tonight. So I'm always improving these products, and my suggestion is if you can get C and you can buy C and it's easy to get it. If you got M, take it. If you've got E, take it. If you can't find E, go back to C. Don't ask me anymore. I have this problem. Should I take C, M, or E? No, just take Emulin. It's all the same now. Take Emulin. It's all great for you, and it's all based on our latest research. It's so fresh. I'm still compiling the data. People say, well, how you told me that in Vancouver a year ago. Friends, any of you professional scientists in here, it takes a long time to publish a paper in a real journal. It takes like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Fortunately, with internet and free access, it's quicker. But if it is still a peer-reviewed journal, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
People don't know how it works. You write the paper, and then this journal, this magazine, sends it out to your peers, and you don't know who they are, and they have to read it and then evaluate it, and then they send it back to you. and they tell you everything that was wrong with it and why you were an idiot that you did this or that, and they tell you you need to use a different type of statistics.
Yeah.
And why did you use those people instead of this other people? And you basically have to start over writing the paper. All right, on top of that, they don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. So I give them the paper. They might not turn it back to me for 4 months. And then they send it back to me, and I might not go back to them for 4. So it takes 2 years, and maybe a year at the quick. So I'm still working on it. We're still trying to get the data published. But the latest research says we got this. This is the best Emulin we've got. We added Gallic acid to it because Gallic acid is a remarkable pain reliever and neurological. I don't know, it's just a jack of all trades in neurology, but it doesn't dull pain by blocking the pain signal. What it does is it restores health to the synapses. And we don't have enough time to go into that, but a synapse is a joint, and you get a nerve impulse on one side, and then along these buds, a chemical is released and goes through air, a liquid, and then it goes to receptors on this side, and then a new signal is sent down here. And so you've got a shock, chemical jump, and another shock. So they're just going like this all the time. And a lot of these pains, because the synapses get out of sequence, I guess, get out of chemical sequence, and they start producing either not enough or too much of this chemical that's between these in the synapse. And there's where a lot of pain comes from. There's where pain, I'll call it disease pain. I think people might understand that. Fake pain, disease pain. That's where a lot of that comes from. And a lot of the neurological disorders happen because there's something wrong with either the insulation on the nerve fibers, or there's something wrong with the joint, or there's something wrong with the receptacles. And Gallic acid fixes that. It's almost like a new insulation for this joint. And we added that to the Emulin. And wow, this, I don't know, the anti-inflammation just went all through the roof. So, and that it's just like when you're fighting inflammation, it calms your body, and then allows your body to heal itself. You know, that's the little story, as I've always said. We are not preventing diseases. We're not curing diseases. We're just slowing that whole process down where your body is out of control. It's a runaway locomotive of inflammation because of too much sugar, and which is feeding the fire. You're putting gasoline on the fire. We need to just calm that fire down, and your body naturally comes back under control. It rebalances itself. That's really the issue. We're not curing disease. Don't anyone say we are. But I would like to point out that you don't have to have inflammation coming from sugar. I had here today, I'm at actually a conference, an Gallic conference right now. We just concluded in Massachusetts. And people have reported to me, because, you know, people don't get the chance to listen to a lot of these little talks I give, and they don't understand the physiology. So they just say, oh, my neighbor told me that they no longer have inflammation. I also don't have inflammation. So the inflammation doesn't have to come from sugar as a poison, which causes inflammation. Any inflammation will be reduced by Emulin. It has these two benefits: manages carbohydrates, and it tackles inflammation. So you can have either one of those. But I believe, because we all eat too much refined carbohydrates carbohydrates. I was reminded this afternoon that we all now in the U.S. eat 175 pounds of refined sugar a year. That's in 2016, the statistics. And in 1880, it was 5 pounds. 5 pounds. And that was even more than we ate 200 years ago. It was 2 pounds. And there was a time that we didn't eat any refined sugar. But as we got over, 10 and 15 and 20, okay, 20, 25, 30. This is 35 times more sugar. So we are in bad shape. That's why everyone needs Emulin. Now, that was a long talk. I'm really sorry to take up all that time.
No, we're glad.
What else would you like?
No, we're glad you took the time because the story was, very useful for us to understand both the aspects of Tom DiBenedetto's stories and Dr. Bennett's stories. So both of those are very, very interesting to fill in the gaps to your pathway to discovery of the new formula. So I have several questions that have been posed on the chat line. So let me just deal with those for a minute, and then we'll go to some other things. So somebody's asking about gallic acid and where it comes from. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about gallic acid and its origin?
Gallic acid is a really molecule. If you'll just look it up on Wikipedia, that's a good place because they have good models of how we understand how things look. It looks extremely close. You know what salicylic acid is? Does anybody there know? Well, it's aspirin. Salicylic acid is aspirin. So this is kind of a half aspirin.
Mm.
I didn't say half aspirin. I said half. It's aspirin itself is a natural molecule. We got it from the plants, but gallic acid is one of the simplest polyphenolics. So chlorogenic acid is complex. They all have the same basic structure. Gallic acid is the smallest, and it's able to cross the blood-brain barrier. So there you go right there. It's like the other ones that we have, quercetin, chlorogenic acid. I encourage everyone that's remotely interested, just look up myristotin and look at the structure, the little, the Tinker Toy structure that they show, and you'll see how they're similar. They have the very basic ring structure. And then the outside of them all have different hydroxyl units. I hope I'm not losing anyone. But the point is, knowing where those fit together, that's what we do. And we selected this gallic acid, the very smallest one. It crosses the blood-brain and can get in and do some great work, whereas a molecule like myristotin like chlorogenic acid cannot cross. It's just too big. It won't get through a membrane. And so gallic acid, therefore, also, though, is not as powerful as myristotin. So what we've done is we have put quite a bit of gallic acid into the formula because it takes more to do the same. And so that's why it's having an effect on a lot of this nervous tissue. It's just because it's able to get there. It's not that myristotin can't work on nervous tissue and gallic acid can. It's the fact that gallic acid is a small molecule and it can get to where it's needed. Hey, that was a great thought. Why don't we put a smaller one? Even though if we need a little bit more, we can. Why not? It doesn't hurt. And so, yeah, it really doesn't hurt. It calms nerves. And it does the same thing that myristotin is doing on other organs. It's anti-inflammation effects on nerves, nerve endings, and the brain itself. Now, gallic acid naturally comes from it. If you put a lot of gallic acid together, everyone knows that it's actually tannin. tannin. It's the brown stuff in tea. It's the brown stuff in those brown rivers in Florida. Tannic acid. And so I mean, you could just drink the stuff. In fact, the Seminoles in Florida used to drink that brown river water. Now, this was before there was pollution, guys, so don't worry about it. But in the old days, 200 or 300 years ago, or even more than that, the Seminole Indians would drink the brown water, the swamp water, particularly like the Hillsborough River. It's full of tannins, and they had a lot of natural remedies. So they used it for pain. They didn't know what they were doing, but they were not synthetically altering pain. They actually were making their nervous system better, especially from pain caused from diseases. Well, I love this area, so I'm sorry to take so long. But pain from diseases is different than pain when you hit yourself with a hammer. The signal is the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And your scream is the same. But the cause of the signal is different. It's still chemistry, guys. The chemistry is not foreign. If you hit yourself with a hammer, it's a chemical that is released that shifts causes an electrical charge to go down your nerves and then jump over that synapse I just talked about. A disease causes pain because it causes that chemical, not from a physical pressure, but sending out the same signal. And so you have stomach aches. Well, the stomach ache could be because you had acid in your stomach and you're getting a hole eaten in your stomach, and that's a real pain. But it also could be chemically induced for some totally different reasons, like neuropathy in the feet and extremities of diabetics. That is a chemical pain. And so we said, man, and the Indians, American Indians, natives did that. They took Gallic acid. So we get it right out of the same place. We get it. You can get it from oak bark, easiest. We don't drain swamp water. That'd be a little difficult. But you can get it from oak trees, oak leaves, oak galls, and several other places. It depends on what's the price that we can cheaply get it. We're trying to make this as economical as possible. So, guys, why is Emulin so expensive? Because it works. This stuff is not cheap.
So one thing that's very, very important that people here get, and I think you've made that point several times. So it doesn't really matter where the ingredient comes from, whether it's this fruit or this tea or that coffee or whatever. What's important to you as a scientist is that the molecule is the molecule. It's the chemistry of that particular molecule. Wherever it comes from, it's the same, and how it fits in to the receptor site of what you're trying to affect. So the issue of sourcing, as you said, you get it at the best possible price, but as long as the molecule is the molecule, the source is not that important, right?
The source, as long as it is a real natural source, is not important at all, because I don't want any contamination.
Exactly.
However, look, the best example is vitamin C. Vitamin C, the other name for vitamin C is ascorbic acid.
Yeah.
So just because it has the name, it doesn't mean anything weird. Vitamin C you can get from dozens of places. Think about it. Oranges are the most famous, but acerola is another tropical fruit. You can get it in green leaf. Yeah. Green leafy vegetables also have vitamin C. Rose hips. Okay. Rose hips are not something we eat all the time, but there's a lot of vitamin C that comes from rose hips. Mm-hmm. That's the little place that the rose sits on, the bottom of the flower receptacle. Mm-hmm. And of course, vitamin C from oranges. But you just, you cook them, and not with heat. You just processor and you extract the vitamin C out of any of those sources, it's identical. Doesn't matter where it came from.
Exactly.
We have to, by law, tell where it came from. We have to say this is a grape extract, this is a onion extract, and this other's a green coffee bean extract. So, if this was it's like saying vitamin C is an orange extract. It's got nothing to do with the orange, folks. It's just the chemical. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Now, I do want to have a good natural source. I don't want any contaminants. I'm about natural health.
Of course.
And we know that people have a concern over having synthetic vitamins, and so we don't go that route. There's nothing synthetic here. It's more expensive to have a natural product, and it's also more expensive to get like the miracetin from a grape. Much more expensive. It's cheaper to get miracetin from bayberry bark. Very cheap. It's in the bark of bayberries. The bayberry likes vitamin C, so it puts it in its bark to protect itself. And so we don't. We want food sources. So that's why you see some difference. Some older bottles of Emulin had bayberry bark on them, but it happens to be illegal in Canada to have a bayberry bark. You have to have a food source. So that's why we use food sources. It's more expensive, but it works. So I know, I understand. I wish I could get this price down, but hey, this is it. Take it. It's worth a couple of bucks a day, worth your life.
Sure. Well, good. That's fantastic. So I have in the chat line, there's lots of different questions, and maybe you can take just short little burst answers rather than really long ones. So one question comes up about people that are on dialysis. Can they take Emmulin without any challenges?
No challenges whatsoever. In fact, they will find themselves improved because dialysis does result in some inflammation.
Okay, good. Cerebral palsy. It's a little more complicated, but what are your thoughts there for anybody with cerebral palsy?
Cerebral palsy.
Tough question.
We have, no, it's not a tough question. I'm just thinking about, I want to make sure that laypersons understand the explanation. Galen, 200 years ago, was right on the money. He really thought that most diseases came from inflammation. And I am every day more convinced of this. And I was actually talking just 2 hours ago with a prominent pediatrician. We were discussing type 1 diabetes and muscular dystrophy. So we're getting right in the same area here. An injury or genetic dispensation of someone or a chemical problem, something in the environment causes inflammation, and each person expresses the result of that inflammation differently because of their genes. So the same person in the same environment where there's a negative factor, one of them could get Parkinson's, one of them could get Hutchinson's, one of them could get cerebral palsy, and ad nauseum. Now, there are some diseases, of course, such as polio, that are not due to, well, they are due to an environmental factor, viruses, but most of these diseases are not due to viruses, and they're due to breakdown of tissue, which usually have started because of something in the environment, and which results in inflammation, which chews up your nerves. And yes, absolutely, no problem. I think that, again, we're not curing diseases. Right. But if you get rid of this inflammation, your body is going to mostly heal itself, but if you're going to be better off, I want to explain this to people, but if they understand Emmulin is like a vitamin they need to take They won't ask me, cerebral palsy, should I take it? I have psoriasis, should I take it? Well, I could say, okay, you're black, you should take it. You're white, you should take it. You're yellow, you should take it. You're female, you should take it. You're male, you should take it. If you can't figure out if you're male or female, you take it. If you're all sexes, you take it. If your hair is short, if your hair is curly, if you're 1 foot tall, okay, have I covered everybody up? Everybody should take it. There's only a couple of contraindications, and for people to know, that means when you shouldn't take it. One of them is if you're under some type of radiation treatment for cancer, because the Emulin will protect you from the radiation damage and will not, therefore, it will not hurt the cancer, and you not get any use of the radiation, because cancer cells also are protected by Emulin. So don't do that. It's not going to hurt you, but it means your radiotherapy will not work. The second is if you are on a blood thinner and you really have a bad problem with blood clotting, you've got a thinning agent. I don't know what chemical that is, but I'll tell you that one of the ingredients in
warfarin.
Yeah, that's one of them. But there's some other.
Coumadin.
No. They will not thin your blood, but they will inhibit platelet aggregation.
Yeah, right.
So there's several steps in there's several steps in blood clotting, and one of them is the platelet aggregation. They have a lot of sticky things on the surface, and they clot when exposed to oxygen. And I'm telling you, I knew so much stuff. I must be from hanging around with you, I guess. So, if I don't know exactly what you're on, and it will inhibit platelet aggregation. So, if you're on a blood thinner, I'd rather you not take any Emulin, because I don't know your circumstances, and just stay away from it. Talk to your doctor, and they may have some insight, but it will reduce platelet aggregation, which is great. It's great. I would recommend someone get off the artificial blood thinner and get on Emulin, but I can't say that to anyone.
Right. Okay. All right. So, interesting question. With the amount of addiction that's going on with opioids and the tragedy of the number of people overdosing and dying all over both our countries, is there any hope that Emulin could make any difference in these people's outcomes?
No.
Well, it does not counter effect the impact of the drug. However, it will reduce the cause of the addiction. So, you start out with addiction because you're on a painkiller, and this is just irritates me to death. We don't need to have all these opioids. There are other ways to do better. For instance, I start out somebody on gas, start putting them on opium. It's opium, okay, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but if you take Emulin, you will feel a less of a need to have the opioid. I can't claim right now that there's some effect on the cycle of where you're getting too much. Your brain saying, "Whoopee, I need this," and then it's just like smoking. You have a certain level of the natural opiates that are in your bloodstream, and you can't do it, so you have to take more, and your body demands this. There are some initial indications that Emulin will slow down your body's requirement to get self-stroked here, but I can't really go there. That is such a area that I
highly charged.
Time and the guys that I work with,
very highly charged.
We can't.
Okay. So we will leave that one. Now, one of my associates in the business, Dr. Pepperdine, who you've met, has been asking me to ask you about something called TNF alpha. Any markers that you know of to be able to determine a person's level of that, which is highly indicative of inflammatory conditions. Do you know of anything that actually measures that the average person can use, or a chiropractor in his office could start using?
There's nothing that a person like that, a chiropractor, even a medical doctor, I'm not saying there's a big difference, but classifications, whether you're holistic or whether you're just a layperson, you've got to go send off for the test. And it could cost some money. That's not a normal test done, but you can get any doctor can order a blood test to get your TNF alpha level, your C-reactive protein levels done. Those are the two ones that you should use: C-reactive protein and tumor necrosis factor alpha. Don't fool around with any of the downstream markers. They're too variable. But you can get this measured, and but it's not a normal test. So you'll go in, and it'll take a week or so to get back to discuss with your doctor. You should. I get mine once a year. Just get a baseline. There is no level for everyone, by the way, on this test. It's not like, okay, 12 micrograms per milliliter blood. There's not. You just have to look at what your baseline is and what makes it go up, what go down.
Okay. So in other words, if you were actually getting a test and you'd never had one before, that first test, if you were feeling fine and normal and healthy, that would be your baseline. And then months later, when you did it again, you'd see whether it's moved up or down to understand if anything has affected it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so you've explained, Okay, so you've explained tannins and all that. Let's see what else. Now, there's a question about, do you have any written material that would be available to assure people that of the safety of the new product for pets? Is there anything that you've come up with that can assure people of that?
That's really interesting. I know there's a little concern because, for instance, Marisitin we're getting out of grapes. So I want to first say this is not a raw, rough growth grape extract or onion extract or coffee extract. So there's no caffeine. It's a pure molecule. And then the second thing is the stuff that causes problem with dogs and grapes, for example, is not there. So I can put up some literature, and we are going to improve our Facebook presence on this real soon, that will show, or at least I can give reference, that there is no known effect of the pure chemicals, Marisitin, quercetin, chlorogenic acid, gallic acid, on cats, horses, chickens.
Okay.
I'll try to do that.
Yeah, okay, good. So somebody was asking what those tests were, so I just typed in C-reactive protein and TNF alpha. And TNF stands for tumor necrosis factor. You'll be able to look it up on Google, and that'll give you that information. So, and there was a helpful suggestion on potential blood thinners in addition to warfarin. There was Plavix, which everybody knows about. So anyway, that's that. Let's see, what else have we got? Tammy asks, if her aunt is on Emulin and she is also on blood thinners, should she stop? At this point, would you make the recommendation that she stop, talk to her own doctor before continuing?
She's on thinners currently?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a little bump in the video, so she's on blood thinners right now.
Yes.
I have to tell her, consult her physician. I don't think there's trouble, but they're always possible. I don't know the problem of the blood clotting. Is it for, what are they trying to do? They're trying to dissolve clots. This is not, or they start trying to stop. The problem is if you go on a blood thinner and you get too much blood thinner, I don't want to contribute to a problem. So
Right.
I just don't want to go there. Sorry. Talk to the doctor. He can read in the literature very easily. Myricetin, quercetin, chlorogenic acid do have antiplatelet aggregate formation, and he'll see it's 375 milligrams a capsule. He's got to be the one to make that is he or she has got to be the one to make that recommendation because they know the patient. I cannot be anyone's physician.
Right. No, I understand that. Thank you for that. Somebody was asking about epilepsy, coconut milk, and Emulin to control seizures. Are you familiar with anything about that?
Yeah, coconut milk contains medium chain fatty acids and of carbons of 8 to 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, I believe, and they're fantastic for eliminating seizures. And someone who says, well, they're saturated fats, and we don't want to do that. Well, look, get with the program. Saturated fats are fine, particularly these ones, lauric acid, any of those. And they're actually called mid-chain fatty acids. You can buy them. You can get them in a powder, even though it's an oil. Oils can come in a powder, dry oil. I personally, when I can, I drink 1 or 2 cups of coconut milk a day, and the in a
Okay,
press,
that's
a second press, a third. Just get the one you can and take it with Emulin. It'll cure you. I almost want to say that, but it will.
we have a nurse who I was speaking with earlier today who's just shared with us that in their clinic they use TNF alpha as a marker for psoriasis. I didn't know that. That'll be useful to know that.
So that's so understandable because they recognize that psoriasis is a result of inflammation, and TNF alpha is what's causing the inflammation.
Right. Let's see what else we have here. Somebody's also said something about Xarelto. I don't know whether that's a thinner or what Xarelto is because I'm not a pharmacist. Okay. Okay, so the nurse also is asking about stomach acid causing cramps and on Emulin C, and is chlorogenic acid the culprit? And should they space out the dosage? What do you know about cramps and stomach acid and Emulin C? Any connection there?
If the pure Emulin comes in contact with any problem where there's a reflux or any type of ulcer, it's going to be rough. This is just like it's not acid like battery acid, but it's acid like an aspirin is acidic. It's
Okay.
not just the chlorogenic acid either. It's the mertenol. Get that past your esophagus and past your stomach. Most of it is dissolved into the small intestine. I absolutely say take it with food, and you could even. I don't think you could do this. You could double encapsulate it and put it and get it through the stomach. But once it gets into your bloodstream, it's going to improve any ulcerated condition and any type of that you have, because it's a self-feeding cycle problem when you've got reflux. It just won't stop. So if you can get it into you, it'll be wonderful. But yeah, it might burn you. Do not ever take Emulin by itself without any food or a capsule covering. It's irritating to the esophagus.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to something else for a minute because obviously many of us are very excited about the product that Dr. Scolio is going to be offering with the Climax and then the skin product with the wand. You're not involved with that whole project at all, are you?
No, not whatsoever. It's that we are looking at Emulin and stem cell interactions, but no.
Okay. All right. So then I want to move on to the product that many of us are also excited about, and that's the brain product. And that's more a product that's in your purview, right? It's more an Emulin derived product that's supposed to be coming in the first quarter. Can you give us any more update on that?
Are we talking about this bar or what? Again, a little bubble in the video.
Okay.
Which
Well,
product is it?
I was asking you about the product that we've all heard about. You've talked about, Dr. Eugène has talked about the brain product that's coming out in the first or second quarter of next year. It's supposed to help with dementia and Alzheimer's. That's your baby, isn't it?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
And we actually have it ready to go. We're just working on the registrations. We're very close. The formulation's completely finished.
Wow.
And we'll just wait for these registrations.
Fantastic. And so what can we expect to do realistically? You know, because many of the people on this call know what I'm dealing with personally with my 92-year-old dear mother with dementia every day. Some of them have seen me lose my cool with her, and which is something I really don't want to do. But what at that point when it's advanced that far, is there something that this new product will be able to do, but in slowing it down or reversing it or anything like that?
Yes, we do believe that Alzheimer's is diabetes of the brain. This is why we're coming out with this brain formula, because we see the connection. If anyone would just Google that, type 3 diabetes, comes up Alzheimer's. So it makes very much sense that if we could control inflammation in the brain, we could fight this. Now, I'm not going to sit here and diabetes, and remember, we do not treat any disease. However, if you give her Emulin and coconut milk, if you can get her to drink it, you'll be surprised at the results.
Oh, really? Okay. Now, so when this new product comes, are the foundational components that are currently in Emulin going to be part of that product with some additional things, or what's the foundation? What's the kind of structural, since it's already been approved or it's being formulated, can you tell us a little bit more and entice us to get excited about that product?
Yeah, it's actually is Emulin with some specific fatty acids, which probably, I don't know, you couldn't find them yourself at Walmart, but yeah, it's some specific fatty acids that have been shown to improve mental conditioning and alertness. So no stimulants, no stimulants whatsoever. As with all products at ever be, it's return you to normal health. Do nothing abnormal to you. So it's alertness. And then we start out with adults, and then we will slowly work into a product probably for children. And, you have to go step by step with these registrations. But, yeah, don't tease too much out of me here. I hope I don't have to take something back. But yes, there's some Emulin components in there. And, remember that if you take Emulin, your brain will be brighter. There's no doubt. It's not specifically for your brain, but you'll be good. And then we add some fatty acids that we found in some plants and got a really impressive assistance for brain memory.
For those of us that never heard the story, would you mind repeating the story about that baseball player that lost his voice and then moved on to some amazing ability?
Yeah.
Can you tell us that story again, please?
Well, again, because of our connection with the Boston Red Sox, we know a lot of former Boston Red Sox players, and one of them was the youngest professional baseball player to hit the home run. And so he had a little bit of a standing, and we don't know if we had an injury or what got hit. And he was a catcher professionally. We're talking about, back in the 60s. And so he's a little bit long in the tooth, and he was getting Alzheimer's, and he'd forgotten how to talk. It's called aphasia. It's not that you have a problem with your throat, it's that you actually forgot how to form the words.
Yeah.
We gave him some Emulin.
Just regular Emulin?
And he started talking, and not only just one of the products we gave him was Emulin. We gave him several things. We're not supposed to give people stuff. We just said, here, try this, that. But one of them was Emulin we gave him, and he started not only talking, but he became the president of the Retired Professional Baseball Association and went around the country giving speeches.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. So let me get it straight. So that was not the brain formula that you're going to be bringing out. That was Emulin and a few other things, but not specifically the brain product. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
But it's close enough. You can say the direct link, direct
Okay. Good.
cousin.
I don't know how your time is. We're not losing any people. Everybody's sticking with us. We've got 81 people on the call, which is phenomenal. So if you want to keep talking, I'll keep asking you questions, but I want to respect your time because you've had a long week, a long day. And so just give me some feedback because it's like 11 o'clock at night, your time already. So, how are you doing? You want to keep going?
Well, we can keep going a couple more minutes because it looks like I'm in a conference center and they're starting to clean it up. But let's go to 11. It's 10:50 here.
We got
let's
10
go
minutes.
To 11. Let's
Okay.
just choose.
All right. Well, why don't I open up the call then? I'm going to unmute the whole people, and I want people to say hello and thank you and everything else, and then we'll shut it down again. And those of you that want to specifically ask your own questions, you'll just have to unmute yourself. So you're all being unmuted right now. So say hi to the doctor.
Hi, Doctor. Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Arhens. Hi, Dr. Arhens. Thank you.
I've opened it up on the gallery so you can see who's saying hi to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arhens.
Dr. Joe, thank you. Love you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for all your hard work.
We got a love fest here, Doc. Hey, hi, Dr. Ken. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you. Okay, so Dr. Ken, were you there when I asked about TNF alpha or not?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good. All right.
I was just looking for a source of getting it. I'm trying to source the test. I have people who will draw the blood. And we were hoping to do a baseline TNF alpha on people prior to beginning Emulin, and then do it along the road, maybe 3 months in, to get a reading, maybe a little bit of clinical research.
Dr. Joe, did you hear that comment?
No, that was purely a jumble.
So Dr. Ken Pepperdine was saying that he was looking for a company or a name to source that TNF alpha test, and then he wanted because he's able to deliver it, and so maybe I'll put the two of you together by email so that you can communicate with one another directly. I'll do that for you if you don't mind, Dr. Arhens. I'll give him your email, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Anybody?
I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't mind doing that at all and taking any emails.
Okay.
But we'll tell you the connection for some reason is getting much worse for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's also when we unmute things, it gets a little choppy. Anybody else have anything specific they want to ask the doctor?
How long? Let me ask something.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How long will these questions stay up here on the sidebar? Or can I just answer them as I get them? Or
Well,
when you kill it, will it kill all these?
well, I think it
I wouldn't mind
records.
going through every one of them.
Yeah, I think it records them on a little separate sheet on Zoom, but the actual recording itself, when it's recording, is just the visual, the video. The chat, I have to figure that out. I can send that to you if I figure it out. But we've got most of it covered, though.
Well,
Okay.
you tell. Okay, so you just let everybody know that we'll try to go through. If we didn't get an answer to all of them, we'll do it.
Well, you know, we're going to have other chances to talk to. I think. Whoa. Hold on. I'm gonna need what I want to convey on behalf of everybody here for you is we hope that as the holiday season approaches, that you and your family have a wonderful experience. I know that you're very busy building two houses at the same time and doing Emulin launch and doing brain research and going to all the conferences. You're extremely busy. You've been very generous with your time with us, both in Las Vegas and here. And so, we really thank you for that. If your mic is open, so if you want to keep saying some things to us, by all means, we'll welcome whatever you share with us.
Well, I just, like I share with people here locally here in Massachusetts, I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to work with Gallic. This is, fortunately, we have been able to improve the product since 2010, but it wasn't until we came across the Gallic and the enthusiasm, and also several specific of you have really taken the opportunity to learn about this product and understand it so you can tell other people, and that's really the difference. Keep this story real simple. It manages sugar, and because refined sugar is a poison which leads to inflammation. This manages the sugar and cuts that off, and it also reduces inflammation. It's got a 1-2 punch. That's the simple story, and it is like a vitamin. So then if anyone asks you, oh, my sister has psoriasis, my sister has lupus, should I take it? We say yes, everybody should take it, whether you're sick or not. So take it. Serena Williams takes it, you should take it.
Yeah.
That's really the whole story. Everyone take it. Then there's only those couple of contraindications that I know of, and even those aren't real. I just have to warn everyone of them.
Okay. Thank you so much. And one last time, I'm going to unmute it and see if anybody else wants to say something. But we're pretty well done. We're 5 minutes to the hour. Hi, Mary.
I was wondering about leukemia. I just had a new client ask me.
Everybody should take it.
That's what I said.
Okay. All right, folks. Let's.
Hyperglycemia. Did you say?
Happy
Go
Christmas and a safe one.
So, Dr. Arhens, go ahead and say what you were saying.
Was someone asking about hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia?
No, it was leukemia, actually. Leukemia.
Leukemia.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to completely stay away from any type of cancer issues. I'm really interested in that because my own father died from leukemia. So I study myself and I'm fine. But if you will go on PubMed.org, look up Larisicin and leukemia or Larisicin cancer, chlorogenic acid and cancer. There's plenty of research that shows that yes, these do reduce leukemia, they do reduce cancer cell growth. So just say everyone needs Emulin. Leave it there. We can't really get into
I
everybody
appreciate
needs
that.
Emulin, and especially if you have cancer.
He's not anyone's physician.
Okay, well, listen,
Thank you.
folks, I'm going to the line again, and I just want to say how much we appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we're looking forward to receiving the Emulin E in the near future. Hopefully, we get past the Canadian labeling issue, and reporting the results that will be similar or better than what we had with the C and the M, and getting past that question: do I take C? Do I take M? No, you take Emulin for everybody. Everybody does the same thing. It'll be much simpler. And we'll talk again sometime soon, but have a Merry Christmas, great holidays, and a successful 2018. And I wish you luck in completing those house projects. I know how debilitating that can be. We'll talk again offline, Doctor. Thank you so much for your time. And you guys, I'm going to stop the recording. Don't rush away. You don't have to, but I'm stopping the recording